National security experts in the United States and in the Indo-Pacific have spent a great deal of time lately thinking about the potential for a war with China, particularly the potential for an attack by China against Taiwan. For a long time, the US and many of its allies have also been very concerned about the potential for a renewed North Korean attack against the Republic of Korea, against South Korea. What we haven't heard much discussion of is the potential for a simultaneous conflict to have to fight North Korea and China at the same time. And that's why the Indo-Pacific Security Initiative of the Atlantic Council has recently completed a new study examining this very possibility. In conducting this study, we considered the possibility that a Chinese attack against Taiwan could spread into a larger regional conflict that would engulf the Korean Peninsula. We considered the possibility that a North Korean attack against South Korea could then involve China in a larger conflict. And we also considered the possibility that either one of these situations could lead an adversary to engage in what we call limited nuclear attack, the potential to use nuclear weapons to try and force an end to the conflict on their terms. The biases of the United States military, United States government, and the larger national security community have made it difficult to really effectively examine the potential for simultaneous conflicts, and within those conflicts, the potential for limited nuclear attack. We also found that the risk of a simultaneous conflict to US national security interests is very high, not just because there's a real possibility that could occur, but that the consequences are so tremendous if we do have to fight both China and North Korea at the same time. We also found that there's many different pathways to get to a war with China and North Korea simultaneously that don't require coordination between Beijing and Pyongyang. As a matter of fact, it could be the lack of coordination between Beijing and Pyongyang, miscommunication between those two capitals, that actually leads to the conflict becoming simultaneous. So the results of this study seem dire. The potential that we might have to fight a two-front war that we're not prepared to fight, the potential that it could lead to nuclear attacks. But there is a silver lining. Our sponsors at the Defense Threat Reduction Agency are very focused on actionable recommendations that are useful to the defense and interagency community. The first recommendation is to adopt an approach in the US national security community to consider the need to deter and potentially defeat a second adversary when you're in a conflict with the first in the Indo-Pacific. So that means if we're preparing to fight with China, we have to be deterring North Korea at the same time and prepared to fight North Korea. Which leads me to my second recommendation. As we consider the war games and studies that are constantly coming out regarding aggression against Taiwan, these should incorporate the potential for the conflict to spread to the Korean Peninsula, either because North Korea takes advantage of the situation or is reacting to the situation. And lastly, we should ensure that the integrated deterrence approach that we take to the Indo-Pacific focuses not just on preventing a conflict with North Korea or with China, but on preventing such a conflict from escalating if it does occur. And this integrated deterrence approach should include all elements of national power and our friends and allies in the region. I encourage you to read the full report on the Atlantic Council website, and we look forward to this being a part of a much larger conversation on this important set of national security issues.